Not sure when to use your triple captain, bench boost, or free hit? Then here is the ultimate chip guide to last you until the end of the season. Let's get into it.
Yo, listen up, Rue is stepping up the game, where fantasy Premier League runs in his veins. From transfers to captains, he's always on top, guiding you through every game week non-stop. They say Rue got that Salah flow. Welcome to the channel, enjoy the show. Wildcards, free hits with so much vibe. If you're hunting for success, then make sure you subscribe.
Good day, mate. Welcome back to the channel. I'm FPL Root and welcome back to another FPL video. So in today's video, I'm going to be looking at a few chip strategies and actually going through them in a team planner and looking at how they're going to look in that specific game week. For example, when you're going to play bench boost, when you're going to play triple captain, free hit, and the second wild card. First of all, if you are new to the channel, I'm trying to hit 2,000 subscribers before the end of the season. So if you do like this content and like this video, please make sure you do subscribe and hit that notification bell on. So before we do get onto the video, just a quick recap on what the chips mean. If you already know this, feel free to skip forward. So bench boost, even if you don't know it, it's good to have a bit of a reminder. Bench boost allows you to score points from your bench, basically your 4 bench players, your goalkeeper, whether it be 2 defenders or 1 defender, midfielder or forward, as well as your starting 11 players for 1 game week only. So a lot of people look to do this right after they're wildcarded to make sure everyone in their squad, in their 15-man squad, will play and will get points. A lot of people do it right before the double game weeks too, so they can bench boost and have 15 players that are playing 2 games, so they end up getting 30 games. So that's probably the best strategy with bench boost, but we'll talk about that later on in the video. Triple captain, so your captain points are basically trebled instead of doubled. A lot of people big up this chip, and it is one of the most, I guess, hype chips of the season. However, it is sometimes a bit of a letdown as you're already getting double. So sometimes it's only maybe 10 to 12 points more. Again, this is probably best used in a double game week because you get 2 chances of your player scoring well. Free hit, you basically make unlimited transfers in a game week. So unlike the wildcard though, you go back to your old team after that game week. So say in game week, let's say 23, you have your team, you played a free hit in 24, and then you'll get your 23 team back in 25. So this is a good chance to play this in a blank game week when you don't have many players playing in your squad, or even a double game week to load up on double game week players that you might not want for the rest of the season. Wildcard, I'm sure everyone knows what wildcard is. You can get to use unlimited transfers within your team's budget. You get this twice a season. You'd have had to use it by New Year. So if you haven't already, you've lost that. But we do get another one now up until the end of the season. And again, normally used before a double game week in order to prepare for that, but not always. So the first strategy I'm going to talk about does start with a triple captain in game week 25, then a free hit in game week 34, wild card in 36, and bench boost in 37. So we'll have a look at the game week 25 team. So obviously everyone's team is going to look different by this point. This is just to give an example of what your team may look like. So I've gone through my transfers. I've got 3 Liverpool who are doubling in game week 25. Again, these doubles are not confirmed, but these are I guess suggested doubles by the experts or predicted doubles by the experts. So 3 Liverpool doubling against Brentford and Luton at home, 3 City doubling, Walker, Foden and Haaland, with 2 home games against Chelsea and Brentford, and the triple captain is on Haaland. So we'll skip forward now to game week 34, which the net chips will be played, which is the free hit. So now we'll look at the free hit in game week 34. So as you can see, we've basically got all double game week players, apart from Haaland. I think Haaland's just too good to not have him in your team. The captain would be Saka with a double game week of Chelsea at home and Wolves away. There is potential to go for someone like Solanke, but it's 2 away games, so that's what's putting me off. Really loaded up on Wolves players as well, with Bournemouth at home and Arsenal at home. I think Wolves are actually a decent team at the moment. I think when Neto and Chan come back from Asia Cup and from injury, Neto is back now already from injury, but he'll be, I guess, have a few runner games in before that. On the bench as well, players that you could play instead. Senesi could come in for Anderson, who has 2 home games though, so I still just prefer that. This is a decent free hit team. The only thing is with game week 34, I don't think it's the best teams in the league doubling. So that is something to take into consideration, that you're not really, I guess, maximizing the best players from the best teams. Really, one of the top teams, it's only really Arsenal that are doubling. But this could actually be a positive as well, because a lot of people might not have Wolves players, might not have triple Arsenal, might not have Eze, etc., Palace players. So it could be a really good time to play the free hit. Next, we'll move on to the wild card in 36. So the wild card in 36, I won't go into it too much because it's basically just setting up for the bench boost in 37. So looking at the 37 team will probably give you a better understanding of why I've picked these players. So I've decided to go for 2 playing goalkeepers. This is obviously if Petrovic does keep his place. Trent, I think, is probably essential for the double game week. Liverpool have a good double game week, but again, we'll talk about that next. Gusto is a really good player that doubles, allows you to play the bench boost, and is a Chelsea player and it is very, very cheap. Walker, City obviously double. And then the midfield kind of picks himself. Garnacho's only there to kind of save money. If maybe by that time point he's not in the team, then you could go for someone else around that price point. Palmer, again, a really nice enabler, and he's doing incredible this season. So I actually think he's probably a must-have if Chelsea do double. João Pedro up front, again, another enabler just to make sure you have enough money to have Trent, Salah, Son, and Haaland. I have gone for Haaland in this game week with Wolves at home, but I don't think Salah or Son are bad captain options either. I see that Spurs v Liverpool game being a goal fest, to be honest. On the bench, we've got Inglewood, Porro, and Senesi just prepped for that the bench boost in game at 37. We'll go into that more because it will give a better idea of why I've picked these players. So bench boost in 37 does see 15 doublers. The whole point of playing the wildcard in 36, it means you can load up on these players for 37. Obviously, Neto and Petrovic, Bingo, Trent, Gusto, Walker, all double. Salah, Garnacho, Son, Palmer, João Pedro, Haaland, Solanke, and then Hinshelwood, Pedro Porro, and Senesi on the bench. For me, this is probably the best, I guess, if you're free hitting in this week and having players on the bench, probably the best you can go for. Your cheap players that are playing have good fixtures like Palmer, like Hinshelwood, for example, Senesi as well. I do think this allows you to really, really prepare for this game week, which is going to be probably the biggest double game week of the season. Maybe not the biggest, but definitely the best, with the best players in it. So you're going to want to load up on these players. There is an argument to say that you're going to probably want these players from before, when you wildcard in Game Week 36 before that. So we'll look at strategies now where the wildcard is a bit earlier, and it allows you to kind of maybe get these players in a bit earlier to kind of capitalize on them being good players. So next up is strategy 2 that does do things a little bit differently. So it goes with a free hit in Game Week 29. This is because there is probably one of the biggest blanks of the season. So it's kind of capitalizing on them blanks, bringing in players that maybe a few people don't own, and being able to get your squad back in a week after. So again, just to reiterate, this is only predicted games, predicted fixtures. So these are not set in stone. For example, if Spurs do end up beating Man City and making it to the FA Cup quarterfinals, then they won't be playing in this game week, and vice versa. If City beat Spurs, Spurs will be playing. Obviously, City are the favourites in that game, so that's why Spurs still have a fixture in this game week. In goal, we've gone for Flecker no for this free hit, Burnley away. So that's probably the best, one of the best fixtures you can target is Burnley away. Spurs have Fulham away, Luton, Forest at home. Obviously, Forest, Luton away. Bowen with Villa at home, and then Villa with West Ham away. So in this free hit team, there's going to be a lot of teams playing each other, which is probably why I don't think this is the best strategy to go to. But I'll just carry on, and then you can work it out for yourself, because things could definitely change if maybe Man City go out the FA Cup, then this can be completely different. So yeah, Flecken in goal. Then you've got Doherty, Pedro Porro, Ben Mee with really good fixtures. Gibbs White, DRB, Maddison, and Son, with Son captain. Bowen as well makes up the midfield. Then Watkins and Ivan Toney up front. So although this team does look good and it does include a lot of players that a lot of people won't have, and it kind of saves you, I guess, from taking a few hits or taking out all your kind of good players and all your players that will be doubling later on down the line, and it allows you to, I guess, maximize your team for that game week. However, I do think the fixtures are not that great for this game week. Yes, Fulham away could be good for Spurs, but Fulham have been half decent this season. West Ham and Villa, that could be a tough, close game. Probably Brentford have got the easiest game, which is Burnley away. But again, Brentford haven't been that great this season either. So I don't think it is the best week to play free hit, but we will go on and carry on with this strategy just to see if it allows us to, I guess, to have a better team later on down the line. Because remember, it's not all about the week you play the chip. It's about what it kind of entitles you and what it gives you further on down the line and gives you in terms of using other chips at other places. So this one has a wild card in game week 33, I guess, in order to set up for bench boost in 34. It is a team of, I'd say, not the best teams in the league. That is because game week 34, the double game week, is actually not, I'd say, full of the best teams, and it does actually involve a few blanks as well. So I can definitely see the point in doing this, as you can really maximize that by having 15 players, where some teams might not even be able to put out 11. Again, I won't read through the team fully in this, but we are really trying to target Wolves with a good fixture in 34 and 33 and a double game week in 34. Arsenal with a home fixture in 33, a good double. Haaland's just Haaland. He's got Luton at home, so he's staying there. And Solanke as well. The Bournemouth players have good fixtures, so I won't go into it in full depth. We'll do it that in the next slide for the bench boost, where you can see why I've put together this wildcard team. So the 34 bench boost does see Neto with Wolves away, Villa away in goal, along with Pickford with Liverpool at home and Forest at home. So two really strong goalkeepers. Yes, the fixtures are not perfect. 2 away games for Neto and a home game against Liverpool for Pickford, but loads of save points I can see happening from them 2 goalkeepers. The defence is Senesi, Bournemouth, again, same as Neto, 2 away games, same fixtures. Gabriel, Chelsea at home, Wolves away, not the easiest, because I think Wolves are actually pretty decent team, but yeah, you've got to have an Arsenal defender, because they're probably one of the only big 6 teams that will double in this game week. Dawson, Bournemouth at home, and Arsenal at home. And then Saka in midfield. Again, I won't read out the fixtures, but you've got Saka, Chan, Neto, Eze, and Garnacho on the bench. Which Garnacho can come in for another double game with midfielder. I was just struggling to really find one. You could go maybe Elise if you did have the budget. But for me, there is a real struggle in there for finding, I guess, 15 players doubling that. That are actually half decent, to be honest, which kind of just, I guess, is another downside for this strategy, as the free hit for me is probably not worth it, and the bench boost is probably not worth it in this game week. Gabriel Jesus up front, Haaland and Solanke, and then a bench of Anderson for Palace. I've got Alex Moreno and Garnacho, but really they should be going to double game week players. But like I said, I was struggling to find any. For me, it's not the greatest bench boost, but I completely understand why someone would want to go for this. It is because some teams are blanking in this game week. So Fulham are blanking according to the projections, and Spurs are blanking. So maybe teams that do have Maddison, Son, Porro, maybe even some teams have Raul Jimenez, they're going to have a struggle getting out 11 players. So you're getting out 15, you've already got an advantage. So I completely understand why. I just don't think the teams are good enough and the fixtures are good enough for the teams that are good enough in order to play the bench boost in this game week. So finally, for strategy 2, it is the triple captain in 37. So Spurs away, Fulham away for Haaland. Yes, not bad, but two away games when you could have actually triple captain in game week 25 with 2 home games for Haaland or for Salah. For me, I just don't like this strategy at all. I think the triple captain's worse than 25. I think the bench boost is worse in not the best game week, and I think the free hit is not in the best game week. You could argue that it is trying to maximize the blanks and doubles in one go. For me, I just don't think that is the best way to play it. We'll talk about the next strategy now, but overall, I probably won't be going for strategy 2 because of the fact that the triple captain, I think you're getting worse fixtures. The bench boost, you're bench boosting players from teams that are not that good, and the fixtures are not even that great either for Arsenal, Wolves, etc. And the free hit for me, again, you're free hitting players in that are not that good. You could argue that that is the whole point of free hit. You're getting in players that you're not going to want forever. But for me, having a I guess a team that has got 8 players, and your team with the free hit has got 11 players, I don't think the extra 3 players are that much better. To be honest, as long as you have the 3 Spurs players in Game Week 19, that they're projected to be playing in that fixture, then I think you should be all right. The strategy 3 does start off the same as strategy 1 with a triple captain in Game Week 25. Obviously, you've got 2 options for this one. You've got Salah with Brentford away and Luton at home. You got Haaland with 2 home games with Brentford at home and Chelsea at home. For me, I just fancy Haaland, but I think Salah's a really good option too. I won't talk too much about this because, like I said, we've just kind of gone through the triple captain in Game Week 25. I actually do think it's the best time to play it. I think you've got 2 great options there. I think that if not, you're kind of missing out. And I think later on down the line, I think there's better chips to use for the double game weeks. So for strategy 3, it does include the same as last strategy. It is a wild card in 33. Again, I feel the same about it. I just don't know if it is the best option to go for. Obviously, you do get to bench boost in 34, but as I've just mentioned in the previous strategy, I don't think that is actually any good. I won't spend too much time on this, as I do think strategy 4 is one that we should be talking about. But for me, I think bench boost 34 is, I guess, not maximizing the best players in the league. And for that reason, yeah, I'm going to move on swiftly to showing you the bench boost team, as it is, yeah, roughly the same as get the strategy 2. So as I've said with strategy 2, the bench boost in 34 does heavily involve Bournemouth, Wolves, and Arsenal. And like I said at the end of that I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure that they're the best teams to target. I don't think they're the best teams to have 15 players from. I think if you rock up with maybe 2 Arsenal, maybe a Wolves, maybe a Solanke and Senesi, then I think that's enough, to be honest with you. Yes, like I said, with strategy 2, I can definitely see why people are going for that. It's because teams do blank. Fulham and Tottenham do blank in 34. But for me, I just don't think there's enough upside with this strategy. We'll move on to the free hit in 37 though. So unlike strategy 2, strategy 3 does have a free hit instead in 37 rather than the triple captain. So I do think this is actually a better strategy than strategy 2, because you do get Haaland or Salah for their great double game week in game week 25, and you do get to basically have the best possible team in game week 37, which is the biggest, I'd say, double game week there's going to be. Whereas in strategy 2, you're putting kind of all your eggs in the game week 34, which I completely understand why. Like I said, there's blanks and doubles, but for me, I think having the best possible team for 37 outweighs that. And obviously the triple captain in 25, I think, is a much better option. So I do really like this strategy. It's just I'm not sure benching in game week, bench boosting in game week 34 is the best possible move. We'll move on to strategy 4, where there is, yeah, probably a completely different strategy. The triple captain's the same, the wildcard's the same, but the bench boost is different, which I think is probably the best chip out there. Strategy 4 does see the same. Again, I won't talk about it too much, but I've said it for most of them. I think it's very, very clear that the best time to play triple captain is game week 25. I think you should lock that in right now. Obviously, Liverpool's double hasn't been announced yet, so if they do get knocked out the Carabao Cup, then they won't double. If they do if they do go through to the final, then it is likely their fixture in game week 26 will move to game week 25. So I can definitely see a positive of playing the triple captain in this game week, because City are definitely doubling no matter what, and then having the bonus of having Salah as an additional option if you don't fancy Haaland. Yeah, I can't see a better game week to play that. Haaland with 2 home fixtures, I think don't overthink it. And yeah, I think it's the best triple captain choice. So like the last 2 strategies, it is a wild card in 33, but this one is completely different because you are free hitting in game week 34. So Flecken in goal, you kind of really, before I go into the team, we're kind of looking for a team that is going to be good from 35 onwards. So a team that is going to be doubling basically in 37 and has good fixtures around that. Obviously, you still got the bench boost in 37. So there's always a risk with this strategy that the team you build in 33 could actually become redundant by 37, because the fact that maybe Man City or Liverpool, etc., have won the league, maybe teams are in the FA Cup final, a semi-final, where they're going to be resting players in the league, injuries, suspensions. There's just so much that can happen between game weeks 33 and 37. So there is always a risk playing the wild card so much before playing the bench boost. However, I do think this team has players from the best teams in the league, so I think you can probably lightly get away with that. I think they're going to get you enough points to, and you've also got transfers. Let's not forget, you've got the transfer in game week 35, 36, and 37. So you've got 3 transfers to make that off completely free. Obviously, you can use a -4, etc., etc. And yeah, I can't really see more than three injuries or three things changing, and you probably see by then who's going to end up winning the league. So yeah, so I've gone for Flecken, Gusto, Pedro Porro, Walker, Alexander-Arnold, and then Senesi in defence. I think all of them do double in 37, and all of them have pretty good fixtures up until game week 37. Son, Garnacho, Salah, Palmer, and Gordon in the midfield. Garnacho and Gordon are needed for this team. They're cheaper options to accommodate Salah, Trent, Son, and Haaland. And then up front, you've got Haaland, Solanke, and Carlton Morris, who does double in game week 37. So again, this team is basically building itself in order to bench boost in 37. However, because they're teams that are the big 6 mainly, you're kind of happy to have them until them and keep them playing, and hopefully they're still tough to play for, because if there's nothing to play for, then they've got the squads to rest and rotate. That's probably the only issue with this strategy. We'll move on to the free hit team now. I really do like the free hit team for this game week because, like I said, Spurs are blanking and Fulham are blanking. Could you possibly use it somewhere else? Potentially. However, by getting in all these players that you're not going to want the week after, you're not going to want 3 Arsenal, you're not going to want 3 Wolves, etc., because they don't double in 37. So basically, the teams that are at this current stage, obviously things could change, FA Cup, etc., things can change. So let's just bear that in mind, that these fixtures are not locked in. But as things stand, the projected fixtures do look like Arsenal, Wolves, etc., teams that will be doubling in 34 won't be doubling in 37, apart from basically Bournemouth and maybe another team, but I can't actually remember, but I'm pretty sure it's just Bournemouth. And Spurs do blank in this game week, which they do double in 37. So you're going to want Spurs players for that. Overall, you're loading up on Palace, Arsenal, basically, and Wolves in this team. Ideally, you'd probably use your free hit on better fixtures, but I think this season you are pretty much struggling, and this does allow you to get players that you don't want for the rest of the season, which I think is a good way to use your free hit. So finally, the bench boost does come in 37, and you can see why this strategy, I think, is probably one of the best, because you do get 15 doublers, which are in the biggest and best double game week of the season. However, I would just caveat that with, if things are wrapped up in the league, if top 4 is wrapped up, if teams are in the FA Cup final, if teams are in the FA Cup semi-final, if they're in Champions League, Europa League, etc., final, then will they rest their players, start resting players? Because obviously this is going to be a midweek double game week, probably in between 37 and 38. So potentially some of your players might not be playing. You might not get 15 doublers. You might only get maybe 10 doublers that are going to play both games, which I think is fine. I think that does mean probably it does give you, I guess, the best chance of the most points, because the last thing you want is having a player in your starting 11 when you're bench boosting and they don't play, then you would have used your bench anyway. So that's the last thing you want. So I think this strategy is probably the best. I think triple captain 25. I'll go rank them through in a minute, but I think triple captain 25, free hit 34, bench boost 37 is locked. I think when to play the wild card just determines on your team. Overall, I'd probably say the worst is probably strategy 2 or 3. We'll go through that in a minute though. So just to wrap things up, these are probably the order I would put the strategies in. I think strategy 1 is number 1. I think triple captain in 25 is the best play. Free hit 34 is the best play. Wildcard 36 is probably the best play. However, it all team dependent. I guess the only difference between 4 and 1 is the time playing the wild card. So I would put it into this context. If you need to play your wild card earlier, then fair enough. But if you can wait till 36, then I think it is crucial to having the best possible bench boost in 37. You have more information, you know who is basically fighting for anything, whether that's relegation, to avoid relegation, for top 4, for the league, for etc. etc. You know all that by game week 36 in order to make the best possible decision for the bench boost in 37. However, if not, I think 33 is not a bad time to play it. Ideally, it would be a bit later, but I think it's not a bad time to play it, considering you get the team back for 35, 36, and then you have a few transfers before 37 in order to, I guess, rectify any injuries, etc., etc. So I think 1 and 4 are probably the best strategies. 3 and 2, I think I put 3 just in front of 2 because of the triple captain in 25. I think that is the ultimate time to play that. Wild cards both the same, but again, for me, bench boost in 34, it's just not it. I think there's not enough good players in order to build out a team of 15, to be totally honest. And I think you're going to struggle to build out a team of basically of 11 on the free hit, but it's definitely possible to build out that 11, and it's going to be players that you're not going to want. So that's why I've decided against doing the bench boost in 34 and even the free hit in 37. I think you're going to want more than 11 players, to be honest with you. That was it for this video. Please make sure you do smash a like if you have enjoyed it. Leave a comment below. What strategy are you going for? And subscribe to the channel. Trying to hit 2K before the end of the season. And yeah, good luck for the game week and all the chips, etc.